A very good evening to you from the Peace and Friendship Stadium in Piraeus, very close to the centre of Athens, for our first live visit to the 1999 World Weightlifting Championships. Hello, I'm David Goldstrom. Alongside me, David Morgan, 7 times Commonwealth gold medalist, and this, the first men's competition of these championships. And the first man on the stage is Vitaly Durbanev, representing Belarus, 115 kilos, first attempt at the snatch with the wide arms, straight over the head, but oof, dislocated elbow.
Yes, we saw this, if you remember, in Germany with
it was Zlatan Vanev, and what a very, very painful and disappointing way to start tonight's competition. Drama right from the first lift. And that was not because the bar was too heavy, but the technique was lacking. And as he let go of the bar, it was late.
Yes, this is always a problem with the wide hand spacing.
And he tries to hold on. Oof.
Although, having said that, David, it's one of those injuries that looks a lot worse than it actually is.
Well, that's a poor start and a very unfortunate one, but we move straight on now to the next man out there, Wu of China. 115 kilos on the bar for this man, just 19 years of age, youngster. And that's a good start by him. He gets 3 white lights. Competed in the Junior Asian Championships this year and was the champion, 3 gold medals, and those the first 3 major championship medals that he's ever achieved in his career.
Yes, not the most convincing lockout on those arms, but nevertheless, 3 white lights.
Well, he was ranked 6th in the world, and now coming onto stage, this is Wang of Korea. Competed in the World Championships way back in 1995 when he was outside the top 20. Haven't seen much of him recently, so this is a comeback. Well, that's no problems with that now. That's really the way to do it. Koreans who've already had success today in the women's 53 kilo class, a clean and jerk gold medal to Ri of Korea, the People's Republic. This, of course, is South Korea. And that's a good start. Yes, 3 medals already decided in these World Championships, all in women's categories.
So Ivanov, this is a surprise, David, coming in at 115 on the snatch.
Well, I was talking to our Bulgarian colleagues, and in fact, Ivanov, it was only 2 days before the championship team was finally selected that Abazhiev decided that they would put Ivanov in. And being very realistic, if he got a bronze medal, that would be a good result at these championships. Interestingly enough, this here in Athens 10 years ago at the 2nd World Championships the Greeks have staged was when he got his first major success. He was world champion then. That's a good start, but well, I have to say a lot of people are going to have to fail for him to become world champion 10 years on here.
Yes, of course, Ivanov, not really known for his snatching. Much stronger in the clean and jerk. But that's a good start for him on 115.
It's a very promising Cuban you're just seeing there. That's Sergio Alvarez, Pan Am champion. And a man who's improving, yet to, of course, start. That's the scene in the warm-up room. They weighed in 2 hours ago. And the lightest man, in fact, is Wu Weijian of China with 55 kilos, 61 in this A group. Had the B ranking competition a little earlier in the day, and the top man was Yang of Taipei with a total of 262.5. Whilst they decide what to do, we'll take a short break. On stage now, this is Wang of Taipei, 23-year-old lifter, pretty experienced. World student champion last season. Got 15 seconds, gets the bar going. 120 kilos for his opening attempt there. That's a good lift. And I can just tell you that whilst we were away, Sergio Alvarez got his second attempt at 117.5 kilos, but has now been pushed into second place. Wang is, in any case, lighter. Now this is Alexander Lichwald of the Ukraine. Weighed in pretty close to the limit, but that's no problem at all. Body weight of 55 kilos 95, the heaviest in the field this evening. But this, of course, the category that has been dominated for so much of the recent past by Halil Mutlu of Turkey, who's in tonight's field, the Olympic champion. Really, one has to say, the main chance of Turkish success at these championships. He's really flown the flag and taken over the mantle since Naim Suleimanoglu retired, but a little bit about Naim very shortly. But first, this is Liao of China. Recently in the Asian Championships, he got the gold in the snatch, but failed in the clean and jerk and didn't get a total. And that's not an auspicious start either. Weighed in at 55.92, so again one of the heavier men in the group. The snatch world record, just to give you a bit of guidance, 135.5 kilos held by Halil Mutlu, which is roughly 298, 299 pounds in this 56 kilo category, where these men are around about the sort of 9 stone mark, David.
So,
Wu, this is the light man in the class, 55 kilos 61. So 5 kilo increase would give him the lead by virtue of his lighter body weight.
Needs to hold, which he does. So he now has 120. And of course his teammate still has it to do.
So now Wang back on for a second attempt at 120 kilos.
But he had a combination of a lack of belief and lack of strength there. Doesn't get enough height on the bar. Still tries to go under. Loses it on bent arms.
So Ivan Ivanov, Bulgarians already with success at these champs on the very first day, with Donka Misheva taking the 48 kilo gold. and setting a world record in the clean and jerk on her way to that success. But Ivanov, as we said a few moments earlier, perhaps not in the best shape.
But if he gets a good snatch in, he can still be dangerous, because he's very good on the clean and jerk, or he has been in the past anyway.
Well, that is a good snatch. So, really competitive. I mean, I suppose Mutlu would be a good, solid favourite to retain the title, but the fight for silver and bronze is very, very tight. It's Lan Shizang of China, who was the runner-up to Mutlu last year, with Ivanov in the bronze medal position. Now Liao, still plenty of time. Controls it well, drives up, and makes no mistake there.
So Liao successful this time.
As I mentioned earlier, David, recent results would suggest that this is his stronger discipline rather than the clean and jerk, but we'll have to see about that. These championships really only beginning to come alive today, but all talent here in the week to come. 11 Olympic champions will be competing here in the next 7 days. Ivanov is one of them. He won his championship in 1992, Ivanov. But now we focus on Huang, third attempt, and I'm afraid not a successful one. Never really got the bar anywhere near overhead.
No, it's just too heavy. So he has to stay with 115.
He really has a fair amount of experience. He's been lifting for some 7 years. He's a big computer man. And whilst on the subject of computers, let me introduce you to our website, www.weightlifting.de. I'll repeat that, www.weightlifting.de. If you go into that on the internet, you'll find our Eurosport schedule for the rest of the week, a database with information on all the championships, the organisers' contacts, and also you can send an email to myself, David Goldstrom, or indeed to David Morgan with any questions. We'd welcome any questions or information that you'd like to ask us, and we'll happily try and bring that to you throughout the week. This now is Wang of Taipei. And that's good, 122.5 kilos.
Yes, a carbon copy.
Wu Wenxiong is the next lifter.
Well, that's the chess game, David, in the back room there, and they've got to take into account the B group results from earlier in the day as well. Although these lifters do look generally superior to Yang Xinyi of Taipei, who was the best in the B group earlier on. Got a snatch of 115, and we're well past that now. Now China, and this is Wu, third attempt at 122.5 kilos. That's very good.
Yes, I think he did well to get that, because I thought he was right on his limit with that 120, but proved me wrong.
Well, 122 and a half, in fact, doesn't really change the position. Wang of Taipei still stays in the lead, but the body weight is immensely good. 55.6 for Wang and 55.61 for Wu. So that is the minimum difference. Now Ivanov.
Yes, and you see Ivanov all the time trying to build on this snatch with the knowledge of his strength in the clean and jerk.
Yes, 10 years ago in Athens, he was world champion. Took the silver in the snatch, but then gold in the clean and jerk, and went on to take the overall championship. Won it in 1990, kept the title in 1991, won the Olympics in 92. So that was his real heyday.
But that's 3 good lifts today.
And he's really delighted. You can see how pleased he is with that. So there's the platform. He's given himself a chance to build.
Yes, it might be 10 years on, but he's still dangerous.
Yes, this week on view here, well, of course, the most famous Olympic champion here. That's Piros Dimas, double Olympic champion, 1992 and 1996 for Greece, in action this Friday night. Dimas versus Huster. The duel continues between those two friends, but also great rivals. And the hat will be packed. 16,000, not by any means full tonight, but it will be on Friday. Kakashvilis, another double Olympic champion for Greece in 92 and 96. He's here. Petrov for Russia, he's back. Chemurkin also on the final day, next Sunday, live on Eurosport for the super heavyweights. Meanwhile, this is Jigao, Romania, 125 kilos, little stumble, but the first lift is in, 3 whites.
And that's the lead for the time being anyway.
Yeah, 29 years of age from Arat. He's the elder man in this lineup tonight and ranked 2nd in the world. And that 2nd ranking in the world as a result of his performance in La Coruña in Spain last May in the European Championships when he snatched 125, but that was 10.5 kilos below Mutlu, the champion, who up here. So this is Lichwald. Interesting, Lichwald was the man who actually in the European Championships in La Coruña beat Ivanov for the bronze medal by virtue of body weight. Now Sergio Alvarez, this is this young 19-year-old Cuban, the Pan-American champion. And Alvarez started off with a failure at 117, then he got it the 2nd time. So this is a 7.5 kilo increase. So this is really an attempt to put him back where he wanted to be. But it's 7.5 kilos, never easy to go for that sort of increase.
That's always a big gamble. As you say, David, this would put him right back in.
Lifted 127.5 kilos in the Pan American Games, though, in Winnipeg, so he's capable.
It's a hold.
Fighting, fighting, fighting. That's really good. That's terrific. That is terrific. There's a lot of fight, but a lot of maturity in controlling that, and that's a really excellent situation.
Yes, and of course it gives him the lead for the time being.
It does indeed. Body weight of 55.78 compared to Jigao's 55.92. Lau addressing the bar now for the 3rd and final time in this snatch phase. About 120 kilos, so he's going up to 125 for his 3rd and final attempt. He failed his first lift. No, again, didn't get it over his head. So his ambitions severely dented now. Finds himself down.
Just can't get enough height on the bar. Takes a very, very wide stance with the feet.
As I mentioned, these are the third weightlifting world championships Greece has hosted. The first ones were in 1979, not here in Athens, but in the north in Saloniki, when 39 nations and 189 athletes took part. 10 years ago, 37 nations attended, some 220 athletes were competing. But this year, an incredible 94 nations and some 700 athletes, by far the biggest world championships ever in the sport. And the motivation, of course, for that, the Olympic Games in Sydney, which sees not only, of course, the men's championship, but for the first time ever, the women's weightlifting world championships results counting for Olympic qualification. The women appearing in Sydney next year for the first time.
So Wang now going for the lead on his third and final attempt.
If he can do it. Comes from Tainan. It's been lifting for quite a long time, over 10 years. Not to be.
So the lead still staying with Alvarez of Cuba.
Indeed. 125 kilos ahead by body weight over Zhigao of Romania, and then a whole bunch of lifters on 122.5 kilos. Wang and Wu and Ivanov, and body weight deciding those positions. So Ivanov not going to get a medal in the snatch, but as you said earlier, David, maybe in a challenging position in the clean and jerk, and that's Lichwald, the man who denied a medal to Ivanov in the Europeans, and he finishes on 120, so he doesn't deny a position to Ivanov today.
Very dangerous there, feet going very wide, and that right leg coming right in there.
So Zhigao with 127 on 7.5 kilos on the bar. Just to remind you, the snatch record held by Halil Mutlu, 135.5, so little way to go, but Mutlu's in the back room preparing, warming up. And waiting for him now. Seen that gesture from Zhigao a few times over the years.
Yes, he needs to get this 127.5 to secure at least the silver medal anyway.
Yeah, Zhigao 125 last year, only managed 117 in the snatch, so clear improvement. (22nd of November today). One or two important history dates today. One, perhaps the most notable of the lot, this day in 1963, the day that John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. 1995, the World Championships in Chiang Mai, sorry, I should say in Guangzhou, the Olympic qualifying tournament for the 96 Games. That was the day on which Pyrrhus Dimas broke the world record in the clean and jerk and took 2 gold medals in Guangzhou, and then followed up the next year with the Olympic Games gold medal. 1956, the 13th Olympic Games started on this day in Melbourne. Zhigao, he's had plenty of time. He's still got 54 seconds to try and get 127.5 kilos.
Well, this is very important because this lift is silver or nothing.
Well, he's at the moment down in second place at the moment, Zhigao. But of course, Mutlu has still to lift, which means that I reckon that he still could be in with a bronze medal chance. It's just Mutlu really to lift. And Zhigao is in second place behind Alvarez. So Zhigao, I would say, guaranteed the bronze.
That's right. So
but most unlikely to do anything else. Now here's the top man, the Olympic champion, the world champion, the European champion. But I'll take you back to 1995. This man came out onto the stage in Guangzhou, and he was absolutely odds on. Everybody thought to do everything and make no mistakes, but he slipped up in the clean and jerk and got a silver and ended up losing the title. But he's unlikely to make that same mistake. He was a bit too complacent, but he's a much more experienced lifter. Terrific start. He really is tiny. But Mutlu, 130 kilos, one lift, in the lead, gold medal secured, and he's got two for fun. And he's got the chance to move up to his world record. Stands at 135.5. I suppose he might as well go for something new straight away, David.
That's right. I actually saw Mutlu and Naim together a couple of nights ago, and Mutlu is one of the few people that makes Naim look fairly tall.
Yes, Naim Suleimanoglu here, not in competition, but he has been in training for some months now for this comeback to get a fourth Olympic gold medal. And really sussing out the opposition. He's been doing a bit of training and just seeing what sort of opposition he's going to meet in the 62 kilo class next year in Sydney. And for all of us, the chance to look forward to seeing him in the European Championships in the last week of April in Sofia, because if all goes to plan, he should lift there, and that'll be a special night. Covered on Eurosport. And you'll be able to see Naim Suleimanoglu's first major championship comeback. But of course, a long way to go between now and then. And the 132.5 kilos that they put on the bar a few moments ago has now been corrected to 136. And that's Naim Suleimanoglu in picture, the man we've been talking about, the triple Olympic champion. Watching on and looking rather sharp. Politician, member of parliament in Turkey. Formerly, of course, Bulgaria. An interesting factor about this particular category, David, in the last 20 major championships, Bulgarians, now by that I mean lifters who were actually born in Bulgaria, have taken the title. So that sort of counts in the likes of Ivanov and all those sorts of people. It's quite interesting, the strength of the Bulgarian team. And there's Mutlu. Coached by Alamal Ibrahim. 10 years on the national team. Home for him is Ankara.
So yet another attempt at a world record.
Yes, this is just half a kilo up on the one he's already set. So he does actually have 2 opportunities to try and achieve this.
Taking the hook grip. Of course, with the smaller hands, it's much harder to grip the bar.
Yes, the bar 20 kilos, but on it, another 116.
Oh, look at that. Oh.
Well, I think the expression is wow, and even Suleimanoglu appreciates it. It's 1,000 days of retirement for Suleimanoglu, and this man in picture now has been flying the Turkish flag, and that was way better than the first snatch. Well, this is textbook.
That was almost easy. Perfect positioning. And one wonders if he's going to attempt 137.5 or if he's going to say that's enough.
No, I'll tell you what's interesting. Nobody has achieved the world standard total of 300 kilos. And I think what he's going to look to do is to build enough here on the snatch to ensure that he's the first man to 300, to take away the word standard, replace it with the words world record, and put Mutlu's name beside it. Terrific. Well, they used to call Suleimanoglu Pocket Hercules. Mutlu's smaller pocket, he's a top pocket Hercules.
So 137.5, that's 303 pounds. So that'll be the first time that a man of this body weight will have snatched over 300 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to think about this. His body weight, 55 kilos, 830 grams. I mean, it's not that far away from 3 times body weight. Well, it's Turkish night in Athens. Oh, this is cracking stuff, and the crowd are getting behind him. They're going to really pull the roof down when the Greek lifters start going, but I must say the Greeks are being very generous in their appreciation of Mutlu. 30 seconds. He's already won it.
He's already won it, and he's already broken a world record.
It's physical, but it's also mental. Oh, yes!
Needs to hold on to it.
Feet together, got to be in line, got to be in line. He's got 3 whites. He had to work for it, but he got there, and the 300 kilos for the total, I think, is on, David.
Well, with a snatch like that, I'm not going to argue with you.
That's 137.5 compared with the 135.5 that he snatched in the Europeans in May. Just a moment concern for those of us watching. And he gets those feet in line and still, and that's a good lift. And Mutlu with an absolutely commanding lead. He's 12.5 kilos ahead of the field, and the rest are left to fight for silver and bronze. Because unless he does something extremely stupid, this is his event. And that's a good lift. And that's an excellent way to finish the first half. So Halil Mutlu goes into the half-time break ahead. Very impressive, David, and I think some more good lifting to come from him. And Alvarez, the young Cuban, finds himself in second place, 125 kilos, which gives him the silver medal, major senior championship medal, so that's really good for him. And Zigau of Romania in bronze medal position, just a fraction, just 20 grams. In fact, I say that incorrectly. He's 14 grams heavier. So he gets the bronze medal, and there it is on the screen. Wang Xin of Taipei ahead of Wu Weizhong of China, but Bulgaria's Ivanov, 122.5, possibly close enough to strike for a clean and jerk medal in the second phase.